Yeah, there we go. Nailed it first time. I will be attempting to GM this game, which is going to be very cool and exciting. On a very personal level, the character, the NPC who is the captain of the ship, is Captain Trenbrahal, who is a character who I played in a Star Trek Adventures game with some other friends of mine, where he was second in command. He was number one on the ship. So he has been promoted. So it's really nice to be able to bring him back to life and to see what happens when, unfortunately, he's in charge. Anyway, enough about me. I'm joined by 4 of our players. The other one is currently sleeping, I hope, and we'll catch up with them a little later on. But for now, let's just do a quick hello. So we'll start with who's beneath me on the screen, not in real life. This is Matthew. Go, Matthew.
I'm Matthew. Hi. You may know me from other things on this channel, where generally I'm sitting in the other chair, which is kind of strange. But I'm looking forward to this and totally not blowing up the ship with my own ineptitude or crashing it into something. Yeah.
Current notes are Matthew is either Troy McClure or Shax. Moving on to the very lovely Sabina. Go to you.
Hi, I'm Sabina. You know me as other things in Other Rangers. But here I'm going to be something slightly totally different. I don't know, but I'm excited and I love the universe. So, okay.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And for the first time, imagine a drum roll, please, or please put one in post-production. We have the very lovely and awesome and always in chat when we're gaming, which is hugely appreciated. Killian, over to you.
Hi. You can find me in chat as Darcerilish on this channel quite often. And then you can catch me in things on like 4 or 5 other channels at any given time. But I will be playing 4 of 8 because I'm a liberated Borg.
And there ain't no Borg like a liberated Borg. Awesome. Thank you very much. Very exciting to have you around amongst your busy schedule hopping universes. So we're going to have a quick session 0 kinda. So we're going to talk about some stuff because Star Trek Adventures runs on Modiphius's 2D20 system, and I'm surprised I got that all out without falling over my own tongue. So 2D20 is a bit weird in terms of dice rolls because you are aiming to roll as low as you possibly can, and ones are your friend, which I think is different to, well, it's certainly different to every other game and every other system that I've played, where it's like 20, yay! No, it's like 20, yeah! Ha! Cool. But it's cool because getting a bad roll isn't the end of the world. There's lots of fun to be found in failure. Embrace your failure, have a laugh with it. So, how it'll work is whenever we come across an event or a task or a challenge or a moment where luck or failure, chaos could ensue, me as GM will ask for a roll, and I'll probably say something like it's a difficulty, and then there'll be a number from 0 to 5 dice roll. It could go beyond that, but it would be unlikely because it's a bit like asking somebody to hit like a DC of 40 with a D20. But I digress. So yes, there will be a challenge, and you will roll as standard 2D20s. Do you see where they got the name from? There are ways that you can roll more dice, and you can usually roll up to, I think it's 5 D20s to attempt to accomplish a task. Now, when it comes to setting your target number, we will be rolling it against and I'm going to open the character sheet because I've got far too many variables in my head right now. You will pick an attribute and a discipline. So your attributes are things like control, daring, fitness, insight, presence, and reason. And your disciplines are command, con, medicine, science, and security. And when we have a task, we work out which of the attributes and disciplines we're going to use. Players are free to pitch what they think will fit and, try and sell to me why they think that's right. Ultimately, I'll make the decision. And you add those two numbers together. So our lovely captain has a control of 10 and a security of 5. So let's say he's trying to punch somebody just hard enough that he knocks them out but doesn't kill them, because that would not be groovy. He would be 10 plus 5, so his target number is 15. He would roll his 2d20, and anything under 15 or anything 15 or under is a success. Each one counting for an individual success. If you roll a 1, that is a critical success, so that counts for 2 whole points. Now, here's the fun bit. If you have a focus that comes into play, so for me that would be resolute composure, because he's very composed when it comes to punching people in the face. That would mean that anything I roll under my discipline that we're rolling, so for me that would be a security of 5, that would actually count as a crit. So 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1, 2 successes. So that's kind of cool and groovy. This then plugs into our wonderful momentum and threat system. So think of momentum as literally being like its name. The more you succeed, the more you carry that momentum through you in the story. So when you find in like a TV show that they manage to unlock the door that then lets them get to the secret MacGuffin, which then lets them shoot a space dragon out of the sky and nobody knows it existed. That's the momentum carrying forwards. Whereas if you manage to open the door and then you get the MacGuffin and then the batteries fall out, that's when your momentum stalls. So momentum, a bit like story points, you can use it for a load of things. How you get momentum. So if I said, Matthew, I need you to make a difficulty 1 check to open this door. Let's say you rolled your dice and you scored 3 successes. Because you only needed 1, the other 2 get converted into momentum. And you have options. You can either use that momentum immediately to improve what's happened with your roll. So you don't just open this door, but you now know how to open, every door on this floor using that same method. So that could be a way of using it. Or you can go, actually, no, I'll keep those and I'll save them for later. And then they go into your momentum pool. So these are the counters that I use for momentum. That's why I'm holding them up. I'm not just being weird. And you can save those for later. So if you then say had to negotiate with someone to put their gun down, and that was a difficulty 4 challenge, you could say, I'm going to spend 1 of those momentum and I'm going to buy an extra dice. So I'm rolling with 3 rather than 2. If you wanted to buy another die, that would, the next one, the second dice you buy, costs 2 momentum. The third die costs 3 momentum, and that's as many as you can buy. So you'd be rolling 5 dice, the chance of getting 4. 4 successes, that is. So momentum can also be used for things like getting more information. So if you're scanning for life forms and you have a bunch of momentum, you can say, okay, well, I might say there are 7 life forms and they're all on deck 6. And you can say, okay, I'll spend a momentum. Which one of those is the specific Klingon that we're looking for? And I'll go, you reckon it's one of the, I can either say it's exactly that one, or, you can use it to narrow it down. Or if you're interrogating somebody, you can find out more information. I will share a list of common momentum spends before we start playing. Your maximum momentum that you can bank is 6. So if you're at 6 and you roll extra momentum, the tip is to just keep spending them as you get them. So
is that all like pooled as a group or individually?
Yes. That's pooled as a group. Great question. Pooled as a group. The opposite, the antimatter to the matter, is threat. Now, threat is something that is purely useful by me, and as you can guess by the name, it's not friendly. Basically, I can spend threat in exactly the same way that you can spend momentum, but to turn things in my favor. So I might add a complication to a skill check that you're trying to do. I might use it to change something about the scene, like you're climbing up the side of a rock and suddenly it starts raining very heavily and a storm comes in. I can stack a lot more threat than you can momentum because there's only one of me, poor little me, in charge of the universe. But yeah, the other thing you can do, and I will offer at some point, if you really wanted to buy 2 more dice, but you only had 2 momentum, I could say, well, I'll let you buy that second dice, but it'll cost you 2 threat, and I will then gain threat, and you gain your extra dice. So it's a bit of a bartering tool that people can use at different moments, but we'll work that out as we get to play. So generally, if we're rolling dice, then we're attempting to achieve a task. Sometimes tasks might be grouped together to make a challenge. So you might have a series of things that you need to do in a specific order, or you might have to get past 1 or 2 key challenges to then unlock stuff that comes next. So if you imagine there's a problem in the warp core, because that never happens. You might need to go and fix the system to vent excess plasma before you can then go and vent that plasma. So that would be a challenge where you sequentially have to do certain things. There might be a gated challenge where you need to get into main engineering in order to fix something, but there's hostiles in main engineering, so you can't just walk through the front door. So you might have to go through a Jeffries tube, hack through some doors. There's multiple ways in, but so long as you get in there, that's when challenges can happen. So things will stack up in interesting and hopefully fun ways. Opposed checks are something that happen fairly frequently, whether it's in physical combat, whether it's you're trying to hack into something and somebody's trying to stop you from hacking into that thing, whether you're pulling over a piece of like ceremonial rope that needs to be secured before the gods come and destroy the planet. You will have an opposed check. They work like a normal check to all intents and purposes. So you pick your 2 numbers, you roll your dice. But what decides whether you win or lose is who generates the most momentum out of their rolls. So if you gained 3 successes and the opponent gained 4 successes, if the difficulty was 1, then you've gained 2 momentum, they've gained 3 momentum, they win. If it's a difficulty 4 task and both of you get 2 successes, then neither of you win because nobody's actually succeeded. And then there's all sorts of different combinations of if you win, but we'll work that out. It's all cool. The final thing that I will talk about in this section is extended tasks. These are complicated AF, quite frankly. You take a really big task that's going to take a lot of time, and you break it down into chunks, and you have to succeed to then get breakthroughs, and then you get work done, and there are spreadsheets for it, because it's a bit clunky. So I'll either work out how to use that and use it, or I will just avoid it, or I'll implement something slightly different, and we'll take it from there. Cool. That was me talking very quickly at you all. Any questions?
I think I understood it all, so no.
Wow.
Right? It's one of those things that I'm sure as we go, I'll have questions, but for now, I think I'm good.
100%.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think I got it for the most part.
Cool.
Whether I retain it is a different question.
I know that feeling well. You're amongst your common folk. Our lovely friend, US Michael, is our 4th player. I believe he's also familiar with 2D20, so he'll probably keep me on the right track. I'm hoping he will keep me on the right track. If not, then I can just make it up and everybody will go with it and it will be fine. Cool. Safety tools, which is very important for anybody running or playing in a TTRPG game of any variety. If your GM is going, no, we don't need safety tools, red flag. So one thing that we are using at our table is lines and veils. So my lovely players have questionnaires, which they've sent back to me to talk about what they're cool about. And it's generally a list of icky topics that are just, and that's a really cheap way of describing it. Topics that can be sensitive, that can be very impactful to people, not just watching, but especially to those playing. And to avoid a situation where somebody is having to listen to or deal with something that is potentially harmful to them. We make a long list of topics that could be triggering or difficult for the players, the people at the table. And you quite simply go through and you say, yeah, I'm okay to deal with stuff like this, or actually, this is a bit of a veil. So I don't mind it happening in the game, but I'd rather it be off screen or out of focus or just referred to, not experienced. And then there's lines, which are your nope, absolutely 100% no, no, thank you, no, just no, not today, not ever, no. And as a GM, you should absolutely respect any of those that come from your players. And if you're playing and something comes up and it's like, oh, actually, this wasn't on our list, but this is uncomfortable, then as a GM, you just pause for a sec, you take the note and just go, okay, that's fine, and you find a new way to work with it. Because just because it's in your plan for your game doesn't mean to say it has to stay there. Because it's better to change your plan than to lose your players or make people feel uncomfortable. That's not groovy, and you should not do it ever. So, in addition to that, I'll also be running with, and I keep forgetting their real name, but I call it the screenwriting tools, otherwise known as pause, rewind, frame by frame. So if we're in the thick of the game, if there's anything that we need to stop and talk about, whether it's actually this is a topic that's sensitive, or hang on, I don't get it, or now I get it, but that would have meant that the action I would have taken would have been different, then you can just go, can we just pause for a sec? Or if I've misunderstood an action that you've described for your characters and I've taken it in the wrong direction, pause like you would on a remote control. We'll have a quick chat about it, and then we can go, okay, let's rewind and pretend like that bit that I've just said has not happened, and then we'll take it back from that point in time. Similarly, if we will then unpause and continue. Similarly, if there's something that happens very quickly or that we need to be quite clear and precise about, then we can pause and go frame by frame as if it's skipping through a DVD. So we can say, okay, this happens, and then this thing comes in, and then this roll happens, and then we gradually build back up to normal speed. So basically, my rule is if I misconstrue anything, or if suddenly something crops up that actually this is not right, not suitable, not anything, or I'm going in the wrong direction, let's pause, quick conflab, and then we'll take it from there. And everything will be cool and groovy. Everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
Fab. If there are any other tools that you guys are aware of that you think might be particularly useful, absolutely fire them through, and we'll see if we can work them in, because I'm more than happy to do everything that's needed to keep people feeling safe and comfortable and welcome at our tables. Groovy. Okay, so setting, story, themes, plot, and shiz. So, no surprises, Star Trek universe. Ooh, yay! Hence why I've got my very lovely Star Trek Pride pin badge on. Ooh, did I? Then my friend got a cease and desist. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
No.
Blah 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 blah. Setting, scenery, story, plot stuff. We are post-Dominion War, so all of that stuff's happened. The war is over. We are not in a state of war. Starfleet, post the Dominion War, is kind of at that reflection phase of, okay, well, we brought all of these worlds in, some of which we've spoken to once, maybe twice. We want to get back to exploration, but actually everybody needs a moment to just step back and shore themselves back up. Let's do the rebuilding that we need. Let's rebuild these bonds of friendship and cooperation and collaboration and balance. So the fleet of ships that are being commissioned at the moment, rather than being warships, which is what's happened for the last few years, they are being either retrofitted or set up to be either multi-mission class ships, or they're back into exploration, science, kind of peacetime vessels. So there are no major threats, like clear and present threats to Starfleet or the United Federations of Planets at the moment. Obviously, there's the continual looming threat of Borg at any point in time. And the Pack-Leds, weirdly, seem to be a bit more organised, and they're gaining notoriety. In terms of series, we're kind of running at the same sort of time as Lower Decks Season 1. So the California class, for example, they have been tasked with the second contact missions. So Captain Carol Freeman, that's where the N is, she has just recently taken off in the Cerritos with all of her crew for a completely smooth run and no shenanigans at all, and everyone perceives that she'll have a perfectly smooth and fun ride. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah. Any questions about theme, field, timeline? Awesome. I'm doing all of the talking. Not what anyway.
I'm absorbing everything.
It's all making sense.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. When this is a complete sidebar, the Power Rangers game that I run for my former Star Trek crew, I had prepared a massive amount of lore about where Angel Grove was, what it was doing, what had happened in the timeline, why nobody remembered their Power Rangers, and this, that, the other. And so when they finally resurrected the command center and Alpha came back online and Zordon was back in place, I said, okay, do you want the full lore dump, or do you want the highlights and I'll just put all of the information in for you to consume? And they were just like, no, give us the full lore dump. And kind of half of the section was me talking about here's what's happened, taking questions, and we just spent ages going into lore because that's what they were really into. I was just like, okay, this makes me feel really good, because all of the time I've spent like thinking.
I have another coffee cup that says lore whore, so lore is my bread and butter.
Okay.
I'm loving this, so I'm taking it all in.
Something I will say for any diehard Star Trek fan, diehard? That's wrong. Diehard Star Trek fans that are watching. Don't at me. I'm probably going to break continuity, and I'll say things that aren't chronologically correct for our star date, and I'll reference
There's so
things
much
incorrectly.
Star Trek out there. It would be hard not to.
I mean, if push comes to shove and I go completely off-piste, I'll just say, well, we are clearly a branched reality from some event that happened during the Dominion War. So
Mirror
it's
universe.
similar but different. Yeah. Yeah, not the mirror universe of facial hair and badassery, but yeah, a mirror alternative, like multiversal place. There have been plenty of them throughout Star Trek, so we're in one of those. It's very close, but just like a jump,
we're just
over
slightly
a star.
to the left.
Yeah.
We're just a step to the left.
Yeah, we're Prime Universe adjacent, let's say.
Just one butterfly got in the way somewhere.
Yeah. One butterfly wing flap away from but I can't remember his name now. That's terrible. Chief O'Brien is still just stood in a transporter room on the Enterprise waiting for somebody to beam up. Yeah. All day, every day. That's all he does. Cool. Right. Let's talk. Unless there are any questions or anything that you would like to go into as players, I thought that maybe we could move on to ships and NPCs. Okay, so following the end of the Dominion War, we are at a point where, Bajor's had a very on-off relationship with Starfleet. Yes, we want to join. No, we're not going to join. Yes, we might join. We could join. Can we join, but from the outside, like in the passenger seat, or cleaning the windows? But Bajor is now, and this is terrible because I've watched so much DS9. I can't remember what happened at the end other than the end of the war. So we're saying that Bajor has now joined the United Federations of Planets, part of Starfleet. Everything's groovy. Cardassia are much more under control, having taken a pasting from pretty much everybody during the Dominion War. So they're much more cooperative now. They have much less power and they can't bully their way through life. So the ship that we are taking out is a Lunar class, which for the Star Trek nerds is the same class as the Titan, which features quite heavily well, frequently, I should say, in lower decks, that the Titan, that is under the command of Captain William Riker and his very lovely wife, Deanna Troy. So, yeah, watch lower decks. They crop up, and it's hilarious. So, yes, we are the same class of ship as the Titan. All of the lunar class ships are named after moons. Can you see what the writers did there? So Titan, but the ones in the Star Trek universe as is, they're all moons in the Sol system. But because I didn't want to then trip over names already used, or somebody come and slap me for being wrong about Star Trek, not that people do that, we have named this ship the USS Indala, which is the name of one of Bajor's moons. And the reason why this ties together is because Starfleet are trying to do more to proactively, visibly welcome Bajor and the Bajorians into Starfleet. So there's that cross-pollination, that sharing of culture, bringing them in, representing them, kind of what they did for Starfleet and the UFP during the Dominion War. So you will have a half Bajoran, half Betazoid captain aboard a ship called the USS Indala, named after one of Bajor's moons. Its registration is NCC 80169. Nice. That was deliberate. Set the tone. Absolutely set the tone. Yeah. Tone is generally light-hearted, shenanigan-led, off-piste. You know, it's traditional kind of lower decks. You're not under the scrutiny of captaincy or admiralty, so let's have fun with it. There may be death, but hopefully it'll be funny, light-hearted, amusing death, not death. So
funny, light-hearted, amusing.
Funny, light-hearted, amusing death. You see, it's making you laugh now, so clearly I've pitched it exactly how I wanted it to land. No, a bit like in Lower Decks, Shax died, and I was heartbroken because I loved Shax so much. And then in the next episode, he was alive again. It's like, okay, fair enough. Feel a bit cheated, but I'm glad he's back. Yeah, so USS Indala, let me open its character sheet, because here's one of the fun things. When you're doing roles, usually someone can assist with the task. If it's physically possible, one person can assist. Multiple people, probably not so much. But the way that works is that they roll maybe different skills depending on how they're assisting, but they roll 1d20 against their own stats that they're using. And if they get a success or two successes, that contributes to yours, so long as you have succeeded yourself. So that's cool and groovy. Fun fact, when you are on the ship and say you're using the ship scanners to scan a nebula, the ship assists you with its own stats.
Oh.
Yeah, literally, the ship is an NPC. So to save us lots of time of learning how to build a ship, I learned how to build a ship and built it for you. That is up on Foundry, and I think you all have access to the ship as a character sheet. If not, let me know. The ship itself has 4 shuttles in its shuttle bay. Furthering the Bajoran links, they are the Ishala and the Chalren, which are also... Oh no, that's a lie. The Ishala and Chalren are the names of Captain Tren's parents.
Aww.
So one Bajoran, one Beta Z, but they were a diplomatic attaché to Bajor. So that's kind of how they've been... what's the word? Memorialized. His mother was a Vedic, and was, as the war raged on with Cardassia way back when, she was harboring and hiding one of the orbs until they got killed. Because everybody has a character that has to have a traumatic background. So there we go. One of the shuttles is the USS Nerys, named after very famous commander from the Bajora militia, Kira Nerys. And the final of the 4 is the USS Drazon, which, funnily enough, is Shax's first name.
Imagine that.
I know. So all Bajoran-themed names of Tren's ships. It's a wonderful ship. It's very lovely. The lunar ship, this is me being Trek nerd now. The lunar ships have, I think it's 4 or 5 different like cosmetic builds on the outside. And I think ours is number 4 or 5. Anyway, it looks dead sexy. It's got like black shading around the central like phaser ring and slightly dark the hull plating. It has a warp field that you can change the geometry of, like in Voyager. So the nacelles of Voyager pop up for a more refined, sleeker warp field that enables you to cruise at higher warps for longer amounts of time. So yes, we have nacelles that move, which is fun. If they move too quickly, it looks like you're flapping, but that's not a design feature. Please don't do that. The ship has its own talent, so it has advanced research facilities. I'm not going to read all of these out, the details that is, but if you click on them on the character sheet, you'll be able to see what they mean. The ship has advanced sensor suites, an emergency medical hologram, and then you get a number of perks for the pod that's strapped to it. You can't built into it at the moment. So the pod, like I can't remember the name of it now. Oh, it's gone. Anyway, across the top back of the ship is a modular pod that can be swapped out for different mission loadouts. So for the Dominion War, it would have housed extra weaponry and an additional computer core. But these days, it has backup EBS conduits to help with power distribution should any of the EBS conduits be damaged. It has an advanced shield array, and it has Captain Secret 257.
Ooh.
So don't go poking around that. It might end badly. The mission directive,
right?
No. The mission directive of the ship the ship and us is to provide security and assistance to the United Federation of Planet member colonies and travelers. She's armed with phaser arrays, with quantum torpedoes and a tractor beam. I think that's about it for the ship. Oh, during her refit, she was granted enhanced phaser banks. She's a multi-role explorer. Space frame is a lunar class. Service date was 2380, so they completed the build last year. And Captain Tren, taking command, is actually her first commissioned command. So she's been released from dry dock. She's done her first sprint around the moon and back just to make sure everything's a shakedown cruise. That's it. And now she's ready for active service. But yes, her traits are a Federation starship and symbol of Bajor. Any questions?
I love her. She's so sexy. I was looking at her as you were describing her. I was like, dang.
So fire the torpedoes!
Yeah, and
we can't poke it.
Without UK Michael, there's no fire. I'm a fire in my phasers. But absolutely feel free to slip that one in there somewhere, and he'll go, "Yeah, let's hit my thing." But yeah, Captain Secret, lots of secrety, funny shenanigans stuff. Cool.
We're gonna poke the thing.
There is an entry in the journal as well for the Indala. I mean, if people watching this are so, what's the word? Energized, willful, whatever, want to see more about the ship, then let us know and we can share these, because this is just information that I've pulled from the lovely internet, because some people have spent a good amount of time sharing all of the information. There is actually a very in-depth, like ridiculously in-depth build page about the ship, even so far as the types of probes that are used and their dimensions and how they work and what's on which deck and stuff like that. But generally we have a 10 forward, so that will be our bar area where we go and chill out, hang out. Just to keep in the theme of lower decks, the new ensigns will be in a corridor with no real privacy at the bottom/back of the ship. The commanders and senior officers have their own quarters. Yeah, so that's about that. Any questions ship-wise? I'll take that as a no. Cool. Then I want to poke it.
We're also going to poke it.
We're going to poke it.
It's like in Monsters University, where they're doing the race through the tunnel underground with the glowing purple spiky things. Like, you do not want to touch these. I want to touch them. They're really unfriendly. Don't touch them. I want to touch them.
It's much like in The Mummy. There's the Book of the Dead. I'm gonna read it.
Yeah. Don't read from the book.
I just watched that
write
last
the
night,
book?
Supposed to do, we're gonna do.
Wait.
You told us there's a secret thing on the ship. We're gonna want to poke it.
Here's the thing. I told you all that there's a thing on the ship. Your characters do not know it.
Ooh,
yes, metagame at your peril.
Ooh, you sneaky bastard.
Yes, threats issued, metagame at your peril. The meta pigeons get shot down with impunity. They have no rights as people. That said, I will absolutely meta pigeon stuff to you when you need it. So let's talk about our senior officers, otherwise known as the NPCs that you will interact with most frequently. So let's start with Captain Trembra Hall. His mother was Trenna Sharla. She was Bajoran, a Vedek with Orb. His father was Felraf Chalran from Begsted, who was a diplomat. There is a whole load of history in his journal entry. Key things to know. He joined the academy at 19 and graduated when he was 23. This is where my nerdiness went into. I went into dates and working out timelines and all sorts for this. He has been on a number of ships. He worked with the people of Lyria, Lyria, not the Illyrians, different peoples, and inadvertently now has a day celebrated in his honor on that planet for the hard work that he did, which he is incredibly embarrassed about, because there's no need for that sort of carry on. I was just doing my job. He was present at Wolf 359, which for people who don't know is that first really big, very deadly battle with the Borg. Captain Picard was there. Yeah, let's not talk about that. He survived against all odds. He had a very bizarre experience, and then ended up having extensive surgery, and he was under scrutiny of Section 31 for a long time until he was allowed back to duty, when they were convinced that he wasn't lying. He was just very fortunate in his escape. Very much the case that the prophets were, they had a hand in his survival. There's a whole subplot around that if you want it. It's all written out, and there are redacted medical notes and all sorts around. He has a number of medals. So he's got 2 Christopher Pike Medals of Valor. He has 2 Legions of Honor. He has the Palm Leaf of Lyria, the Grand Kit Order of Tactics, Starfleet Citation for Conspicuous Gallantry, Starfleet Decoration of Gallantry, Starfleet Medal of Honor, Starfleet Cross for Extraordinary Heroism. He's currently 39 years old. And he looks remarkably like Orlando Bloom with Bajoran nose ridges. Because that's a piece of art.
Yes, I was hoping that was him.
That. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100% that's him. The big picture for him is in the whatchamacallit. No, is it? Yeah, it is in the journal. That's the word. Thank you. If I've not
I don't see
that.
anything.
I
in
don't
the
have
journal,
access to
so.
it.
Do you not?
Yeah.
Okay, right. This is show players Starship Registry. Oh, that's changed. Configure ownership. I'll make you observers of the ship registry. There you go.
There we go.
Hey, there it is.
So can you already see like mission and ship details as subcategories
Yep.
under the main?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Then I will also do...
And now it's gone. I pressed
Has
the
it? Oh.
button. Okay, I see it now. Well, I see the crew files now.
There you go.
Aw, what a cutie.
That's amazing.
I love it.
Yeah, so I'd say that what's in there that you can learn about him is kind of known Starfleet information. So stuff that you can just access from like the standard catalogue of captain's personnel files. If you wanted to go digging, you could, but yeah, danger, Will Robinson. Moving on, you have your Exo, who is called Exo, spelt ECKSOH. To all intents and purposes, he is very of that same ilk as Jack Ransom from Lower Decks. He's all about the perfect hair, the great jawline, the body. He always wears the scant uniform, you know, the little debifficated like dress, essentially. And it's always cut to just the right hemline that it's slightly more revealing than you really want it to be, but it's still just within regulation and probably not going to get told off. He's never inappropriate with that. But yes, he's very much, we're out and we're saving the universe and aren't we heroes? Very gung-ho, very all about him. He will be represented in game by, I can't remember his name. It's gone straight from my head. Zach Brannigan. Yeah, that's the one. You have Lieutenant Commander Tok, who is represented in game by Angelina Jolie with Vulcanese. Lieutenant Commander Tok is I did put it in. They are your security chief. They are not somebody to be trifled with. Our ship seems to be personed, crewed, there's a word, is crewed with a lot of people that are very good at violence. That is the definite theme that's come through from the character sheets. Yeah, she's not to be trifled with. She's very intelligent. She's very Vulcan. She's very one raised eyebrow of disapproval. Yeah, so she'll be around. She is who you will be reporting to when you board the ship. There is Lieutenant McCat, who's not a Cation. That would be too easy. She is just one of the NPCs there and about. There is Ensign Helmsman, who is the helmsman. There is Dr. Anesthesia. Don't make that joke. She's bored of it. She is the chief medical officer aboard the ship. Not a drag queen. She's actually Dr. Anesthesia. She has the values of let's not jump to conclusions until I run some tests. This is my patient, so get the redacted out of my way. This is not my first guy turns into a doll case. And you want me to see a doctor? I am the doctor. So yeah, she's also a bit grumpy when stressed out. So approach with chocolate. And then there is engineering chief, Chief Crankit. I've not really spec'd him out too much yet because I was waiting to see if anybody went into engineering, but none of the players want to be in engineering, so Chief Crankit's going to be down there all by himself. Sad times. And the final person on, well, I say the command crew, Lieutenant Rojo Camisa, or Lieutenant Redshirt is the translation. Expect them to perish regularly. Not a lot more to say about that. So much so that they just have a torso of a red shirt. They don't have a head or legs. Or hands. Now I look at the token. Yeah, entirely disposable, but we love him all the same. Well, I say him, it could be female or a species where they don't have the same binary gender roles as we do. So cool. All's good. Any questions about your commanders?
It's a group.
I love that.
It is definitely a group.
Yeah, it's almost like all of the good officers were taken. No, that sounds horrible. It's almost like I had a set of tokens, and to save me creating whole new tokens, a whole new people, I just kind of shook them together and saw what happened. So it's like, that looked like a doctor. Yeah, they're a doctor. That engineer. Yeah, lots of recycling happening. Cool. So now for the fun part where I get to talk less, but learn some interesting things. So, do you have dice to hand, you three?
Only one or two.
A whole lot of them.
No, that's fine. You just need one. Just
No.
one that we all have. No, okay. Sabina has no dice in there. Okay. Pick a D20. Why not? Let's go with D20. And all roll a D20 for me, please. Tell me your results.
11.
12.
I also got an 11.
Okay. Could the pair of the 11s roll again, please?
1.
16.
16. Okay, in which case, Sabina, let's talk about your character first. You rolled the highest, so it's not that you won, you lost, so you're going first.
He got a 16 though.
Yeah, but
That was on
the 11
rollies.
first.
I
That was on
know.
rollies
I'm
to split them out.
Okay.
Nice try. But
I
no.
know. Okay. Hello.
Deep breath, it's fine. So,
It's fine.
would you like me to do it more as a conversation? So I ask you questions, or would that make it?
So
less
yeah, that would
awkward?
make it a little bit easier.
Okay, let me
Conversation.
pull out your character sheet briefly.
Yeah.
Let me move my cameras so that I'm not confusing myself with where I'm talking. Stack nicely like that. There we go. Too many monitors. Cool. So, blah. Okay. Make sure that I've just got the right character. Actually, tell me how you pronounce your name.
I was pronouncing it Solea.
Solea. Okay. S''. Oh no, I actually did check this with you when we were typing about it. S''Leia. Solea. There we go. Cool. So, tell us about Solea. What planet is she from? Why did she join Starfleet? What track has she been on whilst at the Academy?
Solea is Vulcan, born and raised on Vulcan. Don't quote me on city names. I don't know that many. She joined Starfleet. Thank you. I can remember names. No, I can't. She joined Starfleet because she wanted to help and experience more. She wanted to explore more. She wanted to help. She is in the instead of being in the more science track like most Vulcans are when they go to Starfleet, she is in actually the medical track. She is hoping to become a doctor. Currently, she is just a what is it? Physician assistant?
What did I put on your character sheet? Because I changed from when I was putting them in, I did some tinkering.
Yes,
to make
yes.
work.
Her assignment is physician's assistant.
Yeah, physician's assistant. That's it. Yes, fantastic, cool. And then there were a couple of questions that I pinged you that are recycled now, so it's not a horrific surprise.
Yes, please, because I forgot about those.
No, that's cool. So where did I put it? It might be 10 foot. Oh no, that's me talking about Adventures in Angel Grove. That's definitely not to do with this. There we go, character sheet after that. It's me talking about my hair. That's
I
not
found them.
what we're looking at. Yeah.
I found them in Discord.
So I call these my 3 H's, which I got from somebody at work. So who is their hero? What is their greatest highlight, and what is their greatest heartache?
Growing up on Vulcan, her greatest hero is Spock. Spock is one of the first Vulcans to go to the Starfleet Academy to graduate to become a hero in a way. So Spock is, of course, her hero. What was the next one?
Well, before we go into the next one, I have a question for you as a Vulcan.
Yes.
What's your take on the fact that Spock is half Vulcan, half human? A lot of Vulcans have opinions, which, is fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. It's not to judge. I'm just interested in Soleia's take on that.
Soleia's opinion is a complicated one.
Mm-hmm.
He has Vulcan blood, therefore he is Vulcan, but the human side is complex. It is complicated. Though he conforms to the Vulcan ways, therefore he is Vulcan, is he not?
I have no answer to that because I asked the question. No, it's not to start a debate. I'm just interested because it's something that's explored frequently in Star Trek. And I was interested to hear people's views. Fantastic.
I was trying to answer as her. So
that's cool. That's all cool. So what is their greatest highlight? What's Soleia's greatest highlight?
Probably the first time she saved a life.
Okay. Which was, whose life was that?
Oh gosh, probably just somebody in a clinic. It was probably somebody who had an injury or a sickness, and she just knew the answer and helped and was able to save a life.
Cool, awesome. And then greatest heartache so far?
When she couldn't save her friend.
Okay.
Yay, being a medical.
We're not traumatized characters ever.
No, not at all.
Well, no, to be fair, there's only a little bit of trauma in here, so that's okay. It's not a complete trauma llama. Cool.
Just that little bit.
There may be questions about their friend later on, but for the time being,
shoot it to me.
Were they involved in any shenanigans during their time at Starfleet Academy?
Saleya is fairly straight-laced. She wouldn't be directly involved with any shenanigans.
Okay. Shenanigan adjacent, I'll write down. Cool. Right. Moving on. Matthew.
Yes.
What's your name and where are you from?
My name is Jonathan Richards, and I was born on a Starfleet base, starbase that worked, handled recreation for Starfleet personnel.
Okay. Is Jonathan a Jonathan, or is he a John, or is he a Johnny, or does he have any abbreviations?
He's a Jonathan.
Okay. Cool. And species?
Human.
Okay. Why did Jonathan join Starfleet?
He grew up surrounded by Starfleet personnel everywhere. He went on the base. The base was operated by Starfleet. His family was Starfleet. I guess it was kind of a foregone conclusion that this is what he was going to do. And he never really considered anything else. So
it wasn't that he was inspired by someone or some great moment or something he saw? Nope,
not when he joined. He joined because it was kind of just what was expected. Being at Starfleet, I think being around all of the history and sort of having to do all of the work and seeing all of the people that had come before him, and tying into who his hero is, the legacy of exploration that Starfleet has is what inspires him the most, particularly Catherine Janeway.
Okay, so this might bleed into my next question. So hero, highlight and heartache. So hero.
Yep. Catherine Janeway, her entire crew and what they did, surviving for as long as they did and managing to find a way home. All of the people they found, all of the different aliens that they met. Heartache. I don't think he's really had a major heartache. He's been quite lucky. His family are alive. They weren't posted anywhere dangerous during the Dominion War. I might have to think on that one a little bit more and get back to you if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I appreciate that this is something I haven't fired at you yet, so you're currently thinking on your feet.
What was the last question, sorry?
Highlight. What's his highlight of his existence so far?
Highlight of his existence so far. Based on the choices as I was going through the character builder, he was involved in the first contact of an alien species, which really tied into his love of exploration. He sees it as an opportunity for growth. He's there to practice his skills at the con, and perhaps one day, through experience and I want to say butt kissing, but not butt kissing, because who wants to kiss butt? But you know what I mean.
Round nosing.
Yeah. Maybe one day get a ship of his own.
Yeah. Networking. Stepping
stones towards.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. His career in Starfleet. Fantastic. Thank you very much. And then the person who rolled the first crit one of the game, even though it's not really a crit one because we're not doing proper skill checks yet. Killian, tell us about your character. What's their name? Where are they from?
So my character's name is 4 of 8. They're originally not that name. They're originally from a busy Starfleet colony that had been sprung up on the planet of Aurelia because Aurelian liberated Borg.
Okay, so I'm going to do, because people will generally understand humans and, star bases, and they should probably understand Vulcans because Vulcans have been present in Trek since day one, I think is fair to say. The Aurelians, and I had to Google this just to make sure that I had the right thing in mind. The Aurelians feature, I think, for the first time, certainly the first time I noticed them, in Lower Decks. And they are the avian race. So they're the race of bird people that Peanut Hamper encountered. So, yes, at some point, and they used to be, so brief history of Aurelians, they used to be a space traveling species, and then they settled on a planet and kind of gave up technology. So if before anybody asks us to say, well, the Aurelians actually lived in a low-tech society, they actually were spacefaring beforehand. So I'm guessing 4 of 8 was assimilated at some point during their spacefaring time.
Yeah, I kind of saw it as there was her and her family had gone on a short little trek because it was a Starfleet colony. They had options for doing a little bit of traveling. And we got It was after the Dominion War, but one of the still rogue Borg ships had attacked the ship, and either you were assimilated or you were killed.
Yeah. Yeah, the outcome's generally not positive when you encounter the Borg. Okay. Sorry, I'm making notes, which I won't be able to read later. I'll be like, what on earth does that squiggle mean? Cool. So, 4 of 8, why Starfleet?
Well, after I had been assimilated and stuck with the Borg, there was actually a liberation effort by Starfleet to come and save us. And I was one of the lucky ones that was able to be liberated and didn't really have anywhere else to go anymore, so why not?
Okay. Okay. This might be an interesting question for a liberated Borg, but hero, heartache, highlight in any order that you would like.
So the hero is 7 of 9, because it's 7 of 9, but she's an example of the heights a liberated Borg could reach, and that there is hope for you to regain who you were before. If you want to, because right now she doesn't really want to.
Yeah. Cool.
For
their
yes.
existence.
Yep. The highlight was when the Federation was liberating us. I was able to liberate myself just enough to fight back against the Borg, and that's part of why I was able to survive when others didn't, is I was gaining control, and so it was easier to liberate me from my implants. And then heartache was finding out that my family didn't survive the attack by the Borg. They didn't even make it to assimilation.
Gotta love that trauma.
Me traumatize my characters? Never.
Who would do such a thing? As James thinks about stuff that's coming up in Let There Be Thunder. Yeah, who would do such a thing? Surely not me. Cool. So what? So as 4 of 8 is now posted to the Inshallah, I'm going to have to look at that name. Yeah, Endala. I keep making it up. Endala. It's been in my head perfectly for ages until I have to actually talk about the damn thing. So with the posting to the Endala, how is that making 4 of 8 feel? You know, the thought of being around a crew, new people, new ship.
She's slowly taken to being around other people, but as opposed to most Aurelians who have like claustrophobia and don't like to be in like tight spaces, the busy colony she grew up in helped with that a little bit. But then once she was assimilated and it was the whole hive mind thing, it's kind of pulled her a little bit more to relate to other people, but at the same time, trying to ease people's fears, because there's, you know, a lot of people that are still afraid of even the liberated Borg, has become a little too honest and a little awkward, and that's made it standoffish. Like, she'll try and make a joke, but it's very much not what is actually a joke.
Yeah.
And it kind of puts people off sometimes.
I am 100% waiting for the opportunity to putting the ass into assimilation. I'm waiting for that joke to come up. I'm putting it out there. There might be a bonus point of momentum if it gets said appropriately at the right time and it makes me chuckle. So just setting that one up. Also, so things that from playing the captain that I think will be fun is that obviously Captain Tren has had shenanigans, encounters, not at all positive with the Borg, so that could be interesting. So one thing that we didn't cover was posting. So Sabina, as you mentioned, your character is going to be the physician's assistant. So you'll be working quite closely with Dr. Anesthesia. Matt, your character, Jonathan, he is going to be posted as a con officer. So you'll be probably working with, they're currently listed as ensign, helmsman, but between now and then they'll get a promotion. So you'll be working with an helmsman. So that will be cool. And Killian, 4 of 8. Your posting will be security. So who better to trust?
Usually not violent, but because of all of the Borg shit, she's violent.
She's learned a thing or two. You could say she's assimilated some knowledge in her time. Various like martial art fighting abilities, or aerial combat, or hitting people with big sticks. It's going to be awesome. Cool. So I appreciate we don't have Michael here, so we might have to fold some of this in later offline. But all of you have come from the academy. You're all graduating the same year, just to make life simple for my poor brain. Now we're into open chat. Who might know whom? Who may have interacted? Perhaps you worked together on like either the science postings or the command tests. Maybe you trained with each other, or maybe you even did your Kobayashi Maru as part of the same crew. So, open table.
Well, I do know that Michael and I are both security. So, because I did notice his comment on that. So.
Yeah. I might have moved him into tactical just so that we've got a spread of disciplines. Okay. But there's absolutely nothing stopping you from having both been in like the same classes or security training or stuff like that. That's absolutely. I just wanted to get. So a bit like in Lower Decks, the TV show, you've got 2 of them in command, on the command track, 1 in science and 1 in engineering, because nobody's interested in engineering. A way of me getting all of you onto the bridge at the same time is by giving you all different stations that could then pull you in. So even though medical is technically the physician's assistant, I'm going to say that Dr. Anesthesia hates being on the bridge, so she sends somebody else. And that might be a bone of contention between her and the captain. Who knows? We'll see. So, over to you, team. Who knows whom?
I guess I could know anybody because, working in medical, you could pretty much run into anybody with like, oh, you're sick. Okay, I guess I need to take care of you. Oh, you're injured. Okay, I guess I need to take care of you. Like I could have run into anybody.
Where on earth did you get this rash from?
I think for our characters, Sabina, probably have had a run-in because my Borg implants started acting up and I needed to go to medical to be like, please help.
Tinker, 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 tinker.
Maybe, and this is me just throwing out a suggestion. That does not mean to say that you have to okay it, because these are your characters. Just a thought that there was a module on the medical course that was about Borg liberation, Borg implants, nanites, nanoprobes, stuff like that.
And I was there as a test subject.
Either you were there as a test subject, or you then, you then happened to come in, for help or what have you, or you volunteered to help maybe. And there was an encounter through that, or you became friends, or there was a shenanigan or something. Yeah.
We appreciate each other's attempts at jokes because neither of us are good.
Neither of us are good at jokes. I'm already not good at jokes to begin with. It's great.
But it doesn't stop you trying. That's the important thing. Yeah.
Did you say we have the same event in our history?
Well, no, I have friend of a company. I thought I did, but I don't. I have friend of a planet, not first contact.
There's no reason why you couldn't. Why Matt couldn't. His character Jonathan couldn't have been there for the first contact, and then on a different piece of field work, your character was there, and that's how then they became friend of exactly the same planet. So that could be a common link. So whilst you weren't necessarily first contact, you absolutely could have been second contact, for example, or continuing thing. Sabina, I have a question for you, and this is me kind of outing one of my probable inconsistencies. Did you ask for first contact as one of your character perks originally? And did I originally say, no, you can't have that?
No, I was when I was making the character sheet, one of the things that came up was for the traits, and I chose friend of because it gave me a science perk.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I hadn't told you, no, you can't have first contact, and then I gave it to Matt.
No, you're good.
I wasn't being inconsistent. Okay.
No.
Yeah, because I would hate anybody to be sat thinking, well, he wouldn't let me have it.
I just got them confused when Matt was explaining it because Matt was explaining the first contact. He was like, "Oh crap, I have something," and I thought it was the same thing, and it wasn't.
Cool. Okie dokie. Fantastic. So I've not inadvertently pissed somebody off. That's always good.
You're good.
Before you start playing. Okay, perfect. But absolutely. Matt's field team could have been first contact, and you maybe became follow-up, and then because the first contact had been established, that could all be cool and groovy, and that could work. So so if Matt was first contact and they needed second as medical assistant for second contact, I could do that. That makes
and
complete
that's
sense.
how Jonathan and Saleha met.
So I'm making notes.
Yay, field work.
Yay, field work. Sticking probes into Earth and not picking up weird, interesting diseases whilst at it. Perfect. Cool. Now, slight spoilers. Well, not really, because it's been posted on our Discord. Michael, US Michael, is going to be playing it's going to get messy. Half Klingon, half Beta Z character. As I've already said, Tren is half Bajoran, half Beta Z. So, whoa. Tren also has history. Your captain also has history with the Klingons from some of his missions. He may be known for being a particularly honourable badass who can headbutt most Klingons unconscious in one go, whilst on a diplomatic mission. Yeah, it was interesting. So there's something there for Michael and I to work through about honour and reputation and stuff. But as half Klingon, half Beta Z, do you imagine that maybe through some classes or something that any of you might have stood out or found each other or got into a blood wine drinking competition or anything?
I feel like Michael and I's characters ended up sparring partners.
Okay. Ended up sparring partners, which led to you taking a particularly hard thwack to one of your implants, which then set it askew, which then prompted your trip to medical, which then built friendship. I'm currently doing a course on this at the academy. Yeah. Oh, I love it when a plan comes together. So, Michael, by the way, you've already punched Killian. Oh.
I think that it would be fun for Jonathan and 4 of 8 to have been on the Kobayashi Maru simulation together, and she just didn't get that it wasn't supposed to be winnable and kept asking him questions about, but why?
Okay, but what if we were all on the Kobayashi Maru simulator?
That would be fun.
What if we try this? But what if we try that? But what if?
And then I'm in the science comm, and I'm just like, yeah, no, this is I get it, but I'm still doing my job.
We made the most logical choice. We killed everybody.
It'd be like that. The episode with Bromler and how he's just trying to perfect that simulation.
The assessment, yeah.
And It's just like, no, we're just going to keep going back in and in and in. It's like, yes, we know, like by this point, that the intention is we fail and we learn how to deal with it. But
but what if I pass?
Yeah.
But what if I got it right?
Yeah, and what if we tried this and this and this?
Yeah.
And this?
Boimler doing the Borg scenario is like me doing mandatory training when there's a questionnaire at the end. And you have 10 questions. And you got 9 out of 10. Absolutely not.
Nope.
We'll start again.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, part of me really wants to run, because I know it's written as a scenario, the Kobayashi Maru scenario with the 4 in the exercise together, just to see what. That could be brilliant. That might be session 1. If we get through like plot, or if I can't actually work out how to make my plot funny enough, then we're just going to lower decks Kobayashi Maru to start with, and then take it from there.
Just in the sim deck, and it's just like Kobayashi Maru. What temp number is this? We lost track so long ago, but we're so close.
Permission to jettison the warp core, sir.
So close.
I actually think it would be a really fun thing to prep what happened in the Kobayashi Maru of the 4 crew members at some point when we get together. Maybe just like
maybe as a random one shot when we need something.
Yeah. Whenever we need to do, we'll just Kobayashi. That's the ultimate. We could do whenever we need a random one shot to fill a gap. We could just do Kobayashi Marus with different outcomes each time.
It's like, welcome back to this attempt number of the Kobayashi Maru.
Kobayashi Maru.
We'll just go forwards and backwards with the number.
Yeah.
This one's attempt 73. This one's attempt number 2. This one's attempt number 100.
Yeah. And let's face it, even if we choose the same things, like at a certain point, we've done it so many times, we don't remember what we've chosen.
You just like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
We have a Groundhog Day episode that is just the Kobayashi Maru over and over and over.
Insanity ensues.
Amazing. Right, I need to finish writing this note. So that is Michael and Killian. And in big red letters and extra thick, and we're just going to write Kobayashi Maru bracket S. Oh, come on. There it is. Fantastic. Good ideas. Did any of you get up to any shenanigans or hijinks during your time in the academy? It doesn't have to be academy related. It could be whilst you're on Earth, maybe on shore leave, in breaks, maybe you're renowned for starting bar fights or ending bar fights. Anything just to give like flavor or depth or additional what's the word? Spice to your characters.
Though Saleya can be pretty straight-laced, if you get on her nerves enough, she can get a little sassy, and through that sass, some shenanigans might pop up.
Okay. Saleya prone to throwing shade when annoyed.
Oh yeah.
I feel like 4 pops up at random places where it's not expected that they are to be, and just like tries to make friends and just makes everybody awkward and uncomfortable. And then thinks that she's made friends, so she'll walk up to people and be like, "Hi, you're my friend," and just start talking to them, and they're like, "Please go away."
I met you once in a supermarket. Because she remembers. Yeah, here's a fun thought that I had whilst trying to sleep the other night. So, obviously on the starships, generally the crew are always bipedal. So the what am I thinking? The atmospheric suits, the space suits, are built for people with 2 arms, 2 legs, and 1 head. They're not necessarily built for people with 2 wings stuck on the back of their shoulders. So how do we work around? I mean, if we end up in a situation where you're going into the vacuum of space, I'm sure we can get past it. But what I was thinking, this hasn't been invented in the Star Trek universe to my knowledge yet, is a bit like one of the plug suits in Neon Genesis Evangelion. As in, there's this massive marquee of fabric that you kind of zip up, you press a button, and then it forms around like the unique anatomy of non-humanoid species or humanoid plus species. So that you can still go into the vacuum of space safely, but without having to go, okay, quick, everybody run to get the spacesuits. Right, hang on. So there's human, there's this one, where's the that massive rail of spacesuits to pick from?
I had a moment where I was thinking about that, and I was all like, well, if they can't make a spacesuit, maybe it's just like a bubble that they put.
Like a hamster wheel. Magnetized hamster. That's even better. Yeah. Spacesuit hamster wheel. What could possibly go wrong?
Everything.
Captain, who's that zorbing across the saucer section? Oh, don't worry. It's just 4 of 8.
I have like connections to my wings, so as I beat them, it lets me move. That's how I steer.
Oh my god! Oh, it's going to be great.
There's a tether so you can float into space and then come back. So you're just a floating ball in space.
Or if you can get somebody on the con to like fire the thrusters at the right time, they can use you like a paddle and ball.
This could be fun. Just fun. It's on the ship.
John is on the con. Jonathan is on the con.
Just rotate the ship like 180 degrees so it hits the top.
Yeah. Right, so it actually looks like the paddle.
This is why you should put me in charge.
Why are we doing this?
And she just goes along with it because she thinks that she's making friends.
Oh, 100% friends at that point. Like if you're bouncing your friend between the two, like the ship, like a ping pong ball, and you're not friends.
That's just bullying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do not stand
You're either
for
friends or it's bullying.
Do not stand for that.
It probably started as somebody else bullying her, and then she thought that that's how she made friends with Khan. Yeah. And so then runs into Jonathan. Oh, we play tetherball?
Jonathan learns what it is, puts in a complaint, gets them in trouble, but then...
And then does it anyway.
It's a fun game that they've kind of... Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's not do it for real this time. Let's just do it in the holodeck, maybe.
See if the captain's sleeping.
Get in touch with somebody on Delta Shift and be like, we want to try something whilst the captain's asleep. Make sure the inertial dampers are turned right up. Cool. I've just remembered something about dice to talk about. Okie dokie. So I don't know if I don't think. Oh no, I wrote it in my notes. Bear with. I've got this written down. It'll be easy to find on my phone. Too many devices. So when you're in combat, for example, you'll roll your normal dice to see whether you succeed or fail at a particular task. But then you'll use right, I've got the page that I need. Then you'll use what's called challenge dice to determine what happens. And sometimes they just crop up as part of separate checks. So I'm just going to...
yeah, I was looking at the character sheet and was all like, well, if we're supposed to combine them, why is there perform task and perform challenge?
Yes. So when it comes to doing a challenge, rather than rolling your d20s, you'll roll d6. Now, if you're like me, and I suspect Michael, you will have some special D6 that have a completely blank side, 1 spot, 2 spots, or a Star Trek symbol, which is an effect. Now, if you don't have those, which you probably don't, in fairness, what you can do is you can just roll a D6. And 1 counts as a 1 spot, 2 counts as a 2 spot. You get nothing for a 3 or 4. And you get a 1 where you get an effect if you roll a 5 or a 6, which is the Star Trek symbol. How that works is, so on your character sheet, you'll see that you've got, particularly in weapons, you have your Star Trek symbol and then 4. So it ties to the number of dice that you're going to roll. So if you were phasering somebody with a type 2 phaser, you would roll, I think, let me see what happens if I actually roll this on the character sheet before I make a terrible mistake.
I was just about to roll mine just to see.
Yeah, let's see what happens when Tren does it. Yeah, so Tren rolls 5 dice because he is remarkably good with stuff. And 5 were effects. So an effect lets you do a particular thing. It counts as 1 success, it counts as 1 point, plus you get an effect. So when you're firing with a phaser, it has qualities like charge or spread, or wide beam is another one. So you can use, if you roll an effect, it means that you can hit the person you're trying to hit, and then if you include wide, you get to include 1 extra person within like the next space range up to the number of effects. So with 5 effects, that means I could hit, well, it's 8 successes with 5 effects. So I hit this person for 8 points of damage, which is quite a lot of damage. And then I get to also do that to 5 other people around him. So yeah, effects do funky, they're a success and do funky stuff. Successes are counting towards a success. And if you just get blanks, then they count for nothing. It's also really nice because there's a reroll results button in the system on Foundry. Everybody who writes modules for any sort of virtual tabletop, take note, a reroll button is essential. Thank you. This has been your public service announcement by the BBC. Yeah. And then you put the number of, yeah, so there are a lot of traits and perks and things in Star Trek that will enable you at various points in time to re-roll a certain number of dice. So if you've got misses, if you've got, fails, misses, same thing, you could re-roll, and then you can just hit re-roll, pick how many dice you're going to re-roll, and you're done. Something I didn't talk about was complications. So when you're rolling dice, you might hit a complication. Generally, unless otherwise stated, you'll hit a complication if you roll a 20. That means not only have you failed, but some things got worse. Sometimes, if you, depending on how I feel, if I can't think of what's gone worse, I might just take threat instead and add that to my pool. Sometimes, if there's a greater risk that something's going to go wrong, your complication range may be increased. So rather than it just being a complication range of 1, which means if you roll a 20, you're in bother, it might be a complication range of 3. So if you roll an 18, a 19, or a 20, then you will be in bother. What was I going to say? Yeah, sometimes you can fail the roll, but then you could spend a number of momentum, depending on how significant the failure is and the task, to succeed at cost. So you succeed at the task at hand, but there's some kind of unforeseen knock-on effect. For example, you're trying to hack a door lock, and you've got your special door lock hacking tools, and you're working it through. You do the roll, but you fail. But it's important that you get through, so you spend a momentum. The door unlocks, but in the process of doing that, the panel that you're using explodes and melts your door locking tools, so you're not going to be able to use them again. So that would be success at cost. Or it blows up and you're then dazed, so you can't, see to aim or make other kind of fine-tuning checks for, the next 5 minutes of game time. Or you might sustain an injury, or you might open the door but set off the alarms. that's the kind of context of succeed with cost. Cool. I'm not sure why I forgot those previously, but there we go. I've backfilled. Right. Back to characters. Anything else to add? Anything else you'd like to bring or throw out there or suggest? Or there's a fun question. During your times at the academy, have you encountered somebody who's kind of become your rival? If you would, any of you would like to have a rival cadet, you're absolutely free to do so. Or if you would like...
Well, we've already kind of touched on what mine could be, is the bully that originally tetherballed me.
Took advantage of your naivety.
Yes, and once I figured out that they were bullying me, they became a rival.
Oh, yes. You have pissed off a Borg. Not usually healthy. I've now got images of the Orville where Isaac is trying to learn practical jokes. And he amputates one of the crew's leg whilst they're sleeping, thinking that it's funny. Isaac being the android who doesn't understand humans. Sorry, I've just choked on something. So, rivals. Cool. Anybody else?
I think... See, I want to say Jonathan is just... He's very personable. He wants to be approachable. He wants to be like the sort of person that would be like, come down to the bar and we'll have a drink and we'll sort it out and hopefully try to, you know, leave as friends instead of rivals. I'm trying to make him the traumaless, angstless,
beige character. No.
The nice guy. The nice
cool,
guy.
Okay. I've written down, Jonathan doesn't realise he has a rival.
Yeah, he doesn't know he's got a rival.
Yeah, there's somebody who's just like, that guy, I just want to hate him. He's just so nice.
Yeah. But so I suppose secretly is somebody's just like, fucking just...
I just want to push him down the stairs.
That guy's too nice. I hate him.
He must be hiding something. I must prove that he is up to no good.
It's like that Invader Zim moment. It's like, he's an alien.
He's clearly a changeling who's now being super nice to try and avoid detection because everybody knows that changelings are evil.
I almost went changeling, I'm not gonna lie. I watched Picard all the way through because one of my nephews loves Star Trek, so I'm actually gonna like let him watch this after.
Cool. So, Saleya, do you have any known or unknown rivals?
She probably at least has one, but she probably doesn't care. She's probably like, yeah, whatever. I'm just going to do my job.
Okay. You do you.
Yeah.
Engaging with somebody who dislikes me would be illogical.
She's like, your rivalry is illogical, for I don't care.
Yes. To see me as your rival would imply that you think you are my equivalent, which you certainly are not. I should have been a Vulcan. I still could be. This will be interesting. Cool. I do have a question about Saleya, because obviously there's a history of like betrothal in Vulcan sometimes. So Spot was betrothed to Prin. Is Saleya betrothed to anybody, or is she still very much a free spirit? There's a better question. What was her family's view of her joining Starfleet? Did they approve? Did they not?
I haven't thought about that.
Oh, well, have a think.
I will have a think and get back to you on that.
Okie dokie, no problem. If I throw any questions at any of you and you don't necessarily want to think or try and come up with something on the spot, always feel free to go, I'll have a think, riddle me this. Yeah, that's cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I might need to pick out of your brains to use against you in a court of Star Trek. I will not be.
My character's got the Federation legal code. He knows the law.
So I've been meaning to ask you about that.
Yeah.
So is it that he is particularly well versed?
He's incredibly well versed in.
Yeah. Okay, fine. You know more regulations than I do.
And skirting them because he knows them.
Gotta know the laws to break them.
He likes to learn the grey areas.
Yeah.
By knowing the black and white areas.
You need to know exactly what they say to know exactly what you can get away with.
Okay. Interesting. Cool. Good to know. Right. Well, I don't think I have anything else to ask or to cover. Obviously, pending Michael coming online at some point later, and we'll chat to him separately. Yes. So thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to ask or say or do within reason before we depart?
No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. You're
I'm
welcome.
excited.
Thank you, Jay.
Unsurprisingly, if you have any questions, you can reach me on Discord or, whilst we're playing games, feel free. But yes, thank you very much. If you've listened to me prattle on for such a long time already, hopefully you've enjoyed this maybe first part of our session 0, and we hope to have some fun and engaging Star Trek shenanigans for you very shortly. So
engage,
live long and prosper. Hello everybody, welcome to session 0 point something stardate. Yes, 0.3 exactly. Captain's log supplemental. Badooby-dooby-doo. We are joined now by our lovely Matthew and our lovely Michael. He is our other player that wasn't able to make it to our other session 0 because sleep is a thing in the real world. It's a very important thing. Make sure you get enough of it, otherwise you will die, quite literally, in a very slow, painful, horrible and psychotic way. Not healthy. Anyway, so we're here to talk Star Trek Lower Decks New Moon. Anyway, I've got Michael up to speed off camera of all of the shenanigans and hijinks that has gone on previously. So we are going to dive straight in with hello to you, Michael. Or should I say hello to you? What's your name and where are you from?
Okay. Michael, and I'm from far away in America.
And in this game, you will be...
Yes, I was confused. I'm playing Roxamara, a half Klingon, half Betazoid tactical officer?
High-pitched tactical officer. I think we remember tactical bridge officer.
Yeah.
If not, you can kill whoever is at tactical and take their post. That's fine. We're down with the Klingon. Yeah, it's cool.
Exactly. On this ship, we run things Klingon style.
No, we do not.
I'm the captain now.
Yeah, that's not a healthy route to go down.
No.
Yeah, the first time that we're in the captain's office or the captain's quarters, depending on where I decide to keep it, you'll find out why. Yeah, that's not Captain Secret 257 either. So, moving swiftly on. So, tell us some more about Roxamara. So, something that I've asked everybody else is, who is Rox's hero?
Actually, a very hard question. It's nobody in Starfleet.
Okay, not Starfleet.
because he didn't want to be Starfleet, I think.
Okay, so that's a few billion people down.
Weirdly enough, like, I think we're going to go, I mean, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Okay.
Trying to think of, like, a fighter, and, like, yeah, I don't want to do Mike Tyson, so, and I don't know any MMA fighters who are, like, not garbage people, so.
Okay, and why is that?
I mean, his parents, well, one of his parents is Legacy Starfleet. The other's a Klingon. And he very much did not want to do the Starfleet thing. It was just not his bag. Like, he had zero interest in sitting on a ship and zooming around space when he could just punch people all day. Much more entertaining for him, at least. And yeah, he just wanted to be a professional athlete, more specifically like a professional fighter.
Cool.
But things happen. Parents suck. Welcome to Starfleet Academy.
My brain is now singing songs from Bugsy Malone. Moving swiftly on. Here, a highlight. What's a highlight of Rock's existence so far? Nothing, Starfleet.
I think probably once in the academy, I imagine there's martial arts competitions like in the academy. Like they have mathletes in Starfleet. They gotta have regular athletes. So probably like winning the like Starfleet Academy intramural martial arts competition or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Cool. And then what has been the heartache of his life so far, other than joining Starfleet? Or realizing that his parents were right and actually Starfleet's kind of cool.
Exactly. It's like, it's fine. God, do we just insert the trauma? I mean, yeah, why not? Everyone's gotta have some drama. The still slightly nebulous inciting incident for him being recruited. His partner died in that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Was able to save everyone but him.
Cool. So that's hero, highlight, heartache. Whilst Rock was at the academy, were there any maybe key moments of hijinks or shenanigans or mischief or maybe bad behavior that he got up to that he might have been known for? That rumor of said shenan may have reached the ear of his new captain.
There definitely was an after-hours fight club.
Okay, tell me more.
Like, probably even like off-site, like somewhere in San Francisco proper, outside of the academy. Maybe even let's put it under guidance.
Yeah, Guinan has an underground. Yeah, Guinan. Yeah. That, I mean, it tracks. Guinan's underground fight club.
Yeah.
Brackets not at all in any way associated with Starfleet or the United Federation of Planets. Close bracket.
Exactly.
Open bracket or Q, close bracket. That is, I like that one.
Yeah.
I'm sure that won't appear anywhere on his record. Nice. So, Rock is also good at flying stuff. Is that correct?
I'm a high con, yeah.
Yeah. Bit of a con man.
Not any special talents for it, but just pretty good at con. Yeah.
He's conable, high con, can con, will con.
Don't ask him to do science. But he can fly.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Nobody has No, actually, that's not true. One person has kind of gone medically. Nobody's gone engineering. So if the ship gets hit by anything at all, then you're all at the mercy of Chief Crankit, who'll be in main engineering all by himself, drinking white wine and singing power ballads.
Down as the ship explodes.
Yeah, he's just like, well, I'm injecting the warp core because there's no point because I've got nobody to speak to. My heart will go on. Veering into French and Saunders, and it's only 7:30. Fantastic. Cool. What was Rock's approach to the Kobayashi Maru?
I don't know if he would have taken it. Because
okay.
As far as I remember, that's you take the Kobayashi Maru if you're planning on being command. Like if you're wanting to go into command, like you take it. It's not an every cadet.
It's not an every. I don't think it's an every cadet thing. You might get subjected to it at some point in the future in a flashback, just so you know. Heads up.
All right.
Somebody might have dragged you on for the laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. It's possible he got coerced into doing it. Maybe then it's just like it wouldn't have been necessarily. Like I have a high command score, incidentally, but I don't think he's not angling for command, so it wouldn't have been like I got to do the Kobayashi Maru or I'll never be a captain. If they don't really want to be a captain, I don't care.
I don't want to be a captain because then I can't punch people.
Yeah, not as often, but. If it would have been probably the first few times, it would have been very upfront. Like he would have like tried to beam over to the Klingon ship and just assault them.
Okay,
like,
you're being a dick. Bang.
Yeah, exactly. Just all right. Disable their shields. Beam me over. I'm gonna take over. I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna punch the captain.
Rambo this thing.
I'm the captain now. We're done here.
Yeah. You're my wife now. I'm now Captain of Lamana. Off we go. And you may now call me Commodore Rock. Cool. Awesome. So one of the things that's going to be one of the things that's going to be slightly harder to do, but I can kind of tie in some things that have already been said, is who knows whom from shenanigans during the Academy days. So there was already talk of Killian and Sabina's characters. Killian's character is liberated Borg. Sabina's is doing medical training. And there is obviously a module on liberating Borg. Their nanoprobes, nanites, their implants, etc. Noodles, yeah. Borg babies, queens, leg suits that they can walk around in with arms. Things like that. Lots of nodes and tubules. And there was mention of Killian's Borg implants playing up, so going and then meeting Sabina's character, who is remarkably interested in Borgy things. But something that we did suggest was that maybe it was during a sparring session or fitness, or maybe the Underground Fight Club, which we'll have to run past Killian, whether their character would be at an Underground Fight Club or not. That it was that caused an injury which aggravated their implants, which then caused the trip to medical and keeping it maybe off the record. So it's just like one of those, the first rule of Guinan's Underground Fight Club that's not in any way endorsed by Starfleet or the United Federations of Planets or Q is that you don't talk about Guyanan's Underground Fight Club that's not in any way endorsed by the United Federation of Planets, Starfleet or Q. So, yeah, the business card folds out in like 4 tiers. Yeah. My brain is now off on one officially, so I'm just going to draw a note down here. What's Killian up for? Obviously, 4 of 8. So there is already something that we've spoken about off camera. That's fine, because secrets and lies, everybody. Sorry, the message has just appeared in our Discord saying, Killian, what are the chances that 4 of 8 would be in an underground fight club?
On a scale of 1 to Edward Norton.
Yeah, on a scale from 0 to the Brad Pitt film. From 0 to soap, what is the chance? Sold to the person working in the office. Okay. So that's no longer sparring. That's at guidance. Guidance, underground fight club, not in any way endorsed by.
You're writing it out every time.
Operational.
Jesus Christ, man.
Or as it's in its abbreviation, the UFC Niao West the Ofopokwa.
Which sounds like something a Klingon might say.
Only if you really upset them and they needed to insult your mother. We'll workshop a name for that. Yes, I just wonder if there's any link between Rock and Slayer. Slayer, excuse me, is Sabina's character, the Vulcan.
Science. The splash of medicine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, also, Vulcans are known for having kind of latent telepathic juju and being half betazoid. You have some empathic juju. Yeah. Not so latent, but definitely empathic juju. So, whilst it's not something that might be immediately, tying of the 2 of you from your academy days, it will be how much time and experience has Rock put into preventing his thoughts from seeping out all over the place, left, right, and centre, or conversely, accidentally picking up other people's.
Quite a bit. Yeah, it doesn't pay to let that shit out.
Right.
And he's put a lot of time into being able to understand people and their motivations and whether or not they're emoting or want to be emoting.
Or just need to be punched. Yeah.
Or well, it's easier to tell who needs to be punched when you're like, you're gonna hit me. I'm gonna hit you first.
You're gonna hit me. Surprise! Bang! Slap. Did you just slap me? Yeah, no, weird, right? Cool. Anything else worth knowing about Rock Samara at this point?
I will say my thought that he's probably a year ahead of everyone else. So he graduated a year before everyone, got an assignment, but it was not a shipboard assignment, it was a something else assignment.
Okay.
And now he's being assigned to
Okay, is that something else as in planetary or spaceport or?
It probably would have been on a station. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Just some It's like I think it was probably like a tester. Like, you graduated, we've got you in this thing. We're gonna put you in like the shit position for a year to see if you can handle the boredom, and then we'll use you somewhere.
I cannot remember the name of the. Is it Starbase 82? Is constantly referenced in Lower Decks. It's just like, I'm sending you to Starbase 82. Don't even joke about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah,
and then I would tell you which Starbase you've been at. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why am I here? I'm not doing anything. Literally did nothing for a year. Except push-ups.
It's a gap year of headbutting walls and push-ups. Yeah.
Like, just a giant, fucking Starfleet intelligence. Like, we're gonna test your patience and see if you can handle utter boredom, because that's the life sometimes.
It's like they come back to pick you up and you've redecorated everything in pastels. So, how have you been? Pastels, Debbie? Really? Can you imagine how unhinging that would be?
It looks like it was Starbase 80.
80? I was close. Well, maybe you went to Starbase 82 because I don't know. I will. Oh, no, that's a highlighter pen. That's not what I wanted to write with.
Yeah.
Starbase 80. Well, we'll make it Starbase 80.
Well, and I also wanted him slightly older because of the whole not wanting to be in Starfleet thing and then getting recruited. So
sucked in, to speak. Yeah. Cool. Matt, do you have any questions for our half Klingon, half Betazoid fighter? Not a dancer.
How prepared are you to save the rest of us when we do something stupid? Because we've already been told there's something secretive that the captain has, and we all want to go poke it.
Well, no, you don't know it's there.
We, the players, have been told
above table
the captain has. Yeah,
exactly.
And we really want to go poke it, but now we don't know as characters that it's there.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
shenanigans.
Right.
I mean, I feel bad for almost killing 4 of 8 that one time, so I'm probably down.
Okay, I can. Well, I'll say this now for the two of you, and then hopefully everybody else will be watching it on Thursday when it airs live, and they'll go, "We can do things." So we're going to start off on Starbase 1, probably the morning of your embarkation onto the USS Endala. So I'll probably ask you what you were up to the previous evening, your last evening on Starbase 1/Earth, whether you'll be transporting to the ship or whether you will be going by shuttlecraft, depending on personal preference. And yeah, just kind of plunging into people's state of when they're going to a bit like who's going to be the first on the cruise ship for the holiday and why, and what they're going to do first when they get on board. Are they going to go straight to the bar and grab a drink? Are they going to unpack in their corridor? Are they going to
immediately hack the captain's private files?
You can certainly try. It might not end well. There's a lot of airlocks. That's all I'll say. Yeah, so we will start. We won't start on the ship straight into a mission, but we will start kind of on Starbase 1, and then we will rendezvous on the Endala and take it from there. So that's the plan. Any questions?
I guess how it's more from Matt. How familiar are we with each other? Jonathan was your character's name?
Yeah.
I mean, because
I'd like to say fairly familiar, if you're okay with that.
That's fine. Yeah, yeah, because we're both. So yeah.
You
Not
both have
very good at
COVID?
keeping secrets.
Space COVID.
Oh, no.
Space COVID.
No.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I will update our Discord with everybody's crew names and bridge stations. Part of the reason for moving people around, so we've got like someone at con, someone at tactical, someone at etc., is so that if I so wish it, there is a semi-legitimate reason for you all being on the bridge at the same time. Such fun. I mean, yeah, Michael's had a preview of the maps that we have for the various areas on the ship. Nobody else has had that. Preferential treatment for the person that knows the system, who I might have to rely on to help me.
Hey, makes sense.
Do what I can. You've got way more play experience than I do in this one. But,
yeah.
You like to play the whole campaign?
Yeah, well, it's like I said to the other guys. This is going to be not necessarily the prime Trek universe. It's going to be like the prime adjacent one, where things are just slightly different. There's a few electrons in a different shells of orbits of atoms, and that's changed.
Fight clubs.
Key things. Yeah. Guy then has a fight club, of course. And stuff and things and stuff.
Do the characters, so that the players might be able to sort of have a look in advance, know where the ship is going?
No. So that they might have a look in advance. What you mean, research about the planet of their mission?
Yeah.
What's the ship's first assignment?
If we know we're going X planet.
Yeah.
That would be a great idea. It means that I need to work out what planet you're going to.
Okay.
Roll for planning.
You're going to planet 3.
Back to Earth. All right.
You're going to the planet. I was just going to pick a random word from a book, but because the nearest thing I have to hand as a book is obviously the Star Trek Adventures Lower Decks book from Modiphius, which I highly recommend because it is brilliant and the art is amazing.
Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag sponsor us.
Not sponsored, but that would be lovely. Thank you, please, Jim Johnson, because you're a lovely man and I think you're amazing. And I was listening to a podcast with you on just yesterday on my day off from work whilst looking at new cars. Yes, one of the things that I really love about this book is that, and if you've watched Lower Decks, you'll get this, is that the opening cover has this pattern on. I thought, oh, that's an interesting pattern. I have no idea what that is until I got to the back cover, and it's all of the evil AIs that pretend that they're gods.
Okay, one request. No evil AIs.
So you don't want time travel. You don't want evil AIs.
Hey, you can do time travel. You can do time travel.
So you're going to discover that an evil AI is going to force you through time to meet your former selves. No, that would make my brain run out of my ears, quite frankly.
Earlier, Jonathan was such a beige person.
We should do a Christmas episode where they what's the film that I'm thinking of? It's a Wonderful Life, where you go back and review his life and then review his life and then just go, my God, you're boring.
Is Jonathan's emotional wavelength also beige?
Oh no, he has the same ups and downs as everybody else.
Okay.
I think we'll have to do trying to think of a fun pun. I'll have to think about this one separately, like a Christmas Carol, or like a Nebula Carol or something like that, where you see Nebula Past, Nebula Present, and Nebula Future of like everybody's lives, and Jonathan's is just the same each time. And the Ghost of Nebula Future is just like, God, you're boring. Just leaves.
Jonathan's just like captain of a starbase somewhere, just paperwork everywhere.
That's an interesting point. Would it be paperwork? Which makes me laugh because it's not paperwork, it's pad work.
Yeah.
But like pads everywhere. Or are they meticulously organized into heaps and piles and sub-piles?
Meticulously organized. Meticulously organized. And he
Meticulous
knows where
pads.
everything is.
Yeah. See, I'm the other way around. Everything is chaos, but I know where everything is. Cool. Interesting. And by the way, that's me, the person, not any of the characters that I play, just me as a human being. Cool. Any other questions? Anything else to add or colour in or threaten or foreshadow?
On the stroke of midnight.
Just want to spar with the captain. But yeah, we'll get there.
You just want to spar with the captain.
Captain's badass.
The captain is an actual legitimate badass with a list of medals that are probably in a box somewhere and never see the light of day.
Just imagine the street cred Rock could get for like putting the captain on the ground.
Yeah, imagine.
Rock's just like, I'm the captain now. This is
Exactly. That's it.
It says so in my book of Starfleet. Just like Starfleet regulations crossed out.
Crossed out with like a red wax crayon across the pad. Yeah. I'm just going to have a quick look at Rock stats and Captain Trent. It's just
Pretty good.
Rock's like, I could do this.
interesting. We shall see. We shall see. Cool. Rightio.
Punching people is my highest stat.
Yes, you have statted for punching, definitely. So have a lot of the other characters. I'm just going to say that if this crew doesn't end up in an all-out brawl at some point in like the first 20 minutes, I'm probably going to be a little disappointed.
If I have, it wasn't intentional.
Are you going to use like a book of rules as your weapons? Like,
Just get the pad out. It's like, according to this regulation, right here, this hallway cannot be used for fighting in.
if you just go round the corner, down the corridor, and take the second turbo lift on the right, you're fine.
You're the
100%.
rules guy. Oh boy. All right.
I might create a role for ridiculous rule.
Have to know how to get, past the rules.
That's true. You have to know the rules to break them.
Or to
That's
know
his theory.
when you're not breaking them, but you're bending them very slightly.
Very likely, yes.
Cool. Right. Well, if there is nothing else, thank you very much for finding the time to hook up with us and go through your character. We look forward to welcoming you all on Thursday as you see all of this. Hello from the past. We hope that the future's good. You see, Matt, got you into time travel after all. And at this point, I will say goodbye to everybody. Thank you for watching. If you've got this far, well done. And join us next week for our first episode of Star Trek Lower Decks New Moon. Live long and prosper.